My name is Rachel. I am 34 years old. I am married. My husband's name is Daniel. He is 36 years old. We live in a small house with our 2 children, a son and a daughter. From the outside, our family looked normal and peaceful. But inside our home, something was missing. We had been married for 9 years, but our marriage no longer felt alive. Daniel and I barely talked anymore. Most days, our conversations were only about bills, work, or the children. We stopped laughing together a long time ago. We slept in the same room, but it felt like we lived in different worlds. Sometimes I sat beside him on the couch and felt completely alone. I missed the man I married. In the beginning, Daniel was warm and caring. He used to surprise me with flowers and hold my hand during walks. We dreamed about our future together. But slowly, life became routine. Work stress, responsibilities, and silence entered our home. And little by little, love disappeared. I tried many times to fix things. I asked him to spend more time with me. I tried to talk about my feelings. But every time, he looked tired or distracted. "It's just life, Rachel," he would say. "Marriage changes." Maybe he was right. But I still wanted love. I still wanted to feel important to someone. One rainy evening, I went to a small coffee shop near my office. I sat alone by the window, drinking coffee and looking outside. That was when I noticed him. His name was Ryan. He was sitting alone with a book in his hands. After a few minutes, he smiled at me politely. I smiled back. Soon we started talking. I do not even remember how the conversation began, but talking to him felt easy. Ryan listened carefully when I spoke. He asked questions about my life, my dreams, and my thoughts. I had forgotten what it felt like to be truly heard. When I returned home that night, I could not stop thinking about him. The next day, he texted me. Then we met again. At first, I told myself it was harmless. Just coffee. Just conversation. But deep inside, I already knew the truth. I was falling for him. Weeks passed, and Ryan became the brightest part of my life. He made me laugh again. He remembered small things about me. He noticed when I was sad. With him, I felt alive. I knew it was wrong. Every night, guilt sat heavily in my chest. I looked at my children sleeping peacefully and asked myself, "What am I doing?" But still, I kept meeting him. Soon our relationship became secret. We only met when Daniel was busy at work. We deleted messages after reading them. Sometimes Ryan came to my house when nobody was home. Other times, we met in quiet places far from our neighborhood. I hated lying, but I also hated returning to the cold silence waiting for me at home. One weekend, Daniel traveled to another city for work. The children stayed at my mother's house for 2 nights. I was alone. The house felt empty. I called Ryan. "Can you come over?" I asked softly. An hour later, he arrived. That night felt peaceful. We watched movies, talked for hours, and forgot about the outside world. For a short moment, I imagined a different life. But everything changed suddenly. Late at night, someone knocked loudly at the front door. My heart nearly stopped. I looked through the window and froze. Daniel was standing outside. He had returned home early. Fear rushed through my body. "Hide!" I whispered quickly to Ryan. He ran toward the bedroom while I fixed my clothes and tried to calm my shaking hands. Then I opened the door. Daniel walked inside slowly. His face looked tired and suspicious. "You're awake late," he said. "I couldn't sleep," I replied quickly. His eyes moved around the room carefully. I could feel his doubt growing. For a moment, I thought everything was over. He walked toward the hallway. My chest tightened. I stood between him and the bedroom door, talking nervously about his trip and asking random questions. Daniel looked at me strangely. Then he suddenly turned and went into the kitchen for water. At that exact moment, the bedroom door opened quietly. Ryan slipped out of the house without making a sound. I finally breathed again. But the fear stayed inside me. The next morning, I felt sick with anxiety. My hands shook every time my phone moved. Did Daniel know the truth? Would Ryan still stay with me after this? Hours later, Ryan finally called. His voice sounded different. "Rachel, last night scared me," he said quietly. I closed my eyes. "We almost got caught," he continued. "I can't live like this anymore." Pain filled my chest. "What are you saying?" I whispered. "This relationship is becoming dangerous," he said. "I care about you, but I can't continue." Then he said goodbye. Just like that. The call ended, and silence filled the room. I stared at the phone for a long time before tears finally came. I cried harder than I had cried in years. Before Ryan, I felt lonely inside my marriage. But after losing him, I felt even emptier. For days, I could barely eat or sleep. I missed him terribly, but deep inside, I also understood something painful. Our relationship was built on secrets. No matter how beautiful it felt, fear was always hiding behind it. Every text message carried guilt. Every meeting carried risk. And that night when Daniel almost discovered everything, I realized how broken my life had become. One evening, I sat alone in the living room while Daniel slept upstairs. I looked at the divorce papers lying on the table. He had given them to me weeks earlier during one of our arguments. At that time, I refused to sign them because I was scared. Scared of change. Scared of being alone. Scared of starting over. But now I understood something clearly. My marriage had ended long before Ryan entered my life. The silence had already destroyed it. I picked up the papers slowly. For a long moment, I stared at my name. Then I signed. A strange calm entered my heart. Not happiness. Not excitement. Just peace. For the first time in years, I stopped hiding. A few weeks later, Daniel moved out quietly. There was no big fight between us. No screaming. Only sadness and acceptance. We agreed to focus on raising our children peacefully. Life became simpler after that. Harder in some ways, but more honest. Sometimes I still think about Ryan. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if we met at a different time in life. But I no longer chase that question. I learned something important from everything that happened. Secret love may feel exciting in the beginning, especially when your real life feels empty. It can feel like hope in a dark room. But secrets also bring fear, guilt, and pain. You cannot build real happiness while hiding from the truth. Now I focus on myself and my children. I started reading again. I started smiling more. Slowly, I began finding peace inside myself instead of searching for it in someone else. Maybe one day I will fall in love again. But next time, I want a love that is honest. A love that does not hide in shadows. A love that allows me to breathe freely. And for the first time in many years, I finally feel ready for a new beginning.
Thank you for watching my story. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories, your support means a lot to me.